The economy of Mauritius explained. Mauritius is an island nation in the Indian Ocean about 2,000 kilometers off the southeast coast of the African continent, east of Madagascar. It includes the main island as well as Rodrigues, Agalega, and St. Brandon. The islands of Mauritius and Rodrigues, along with the nearby Reunion, are part of the Mascarene Islands. The main island of Mauritius, where most of the population is concentrated, hosts the capital and largest city, Port Louis. The country spans 2,040 square kilometers and has an exclusive economic zone covering 2.3 million square kilometers. The economy of Mauritius is a mixed developing economy based on agriculture, exports, financial services, and tourism. Since the 1980s, the government of Mauritius has sought to diversify the country's economy beyond its independence on just agriculture, particularly sugar production. But before we continue exploring the economy of Mauritius, if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Agriculture. Agriculture has been the bedrock of the Mauritian economy for decades. Starting from a monocrop sector, it is now fully diversified with over 711 tariff lines being produced locally and exported. While the industrial base of Mauritius has been considerably widened, the agricultural and agro-processing sector remains a vital pillar of the economy as sugarcane fields continue to dominate the landscape of the island. In Mauritius, about 40% of the country's land is used for crop cultivation, of which about 90% is sugarcane, a major export earner, with the remaining land planted with tea, tobacco, and a small number of food crops, mainly vegetables and fruits. Although food crop production stretches throughout the year, planting of the main season crops normally takes place between November and April, and the harvest period normally falls between the months of June and September. According to statistics, Mauritius' production of food crops is estimated at 95,000 tons in 2020, about 7% below the previous 5-year average and nearly unchanged compared to the output in 2019. In spite of a modest increase in plantings, mostly of vegetables, the below-average production reflects unfavorable weather conditions during the first semester of 2020 that adversely affected yields. Production of sugarcane in 2020 is estimated at 2.6 million tons, about 23% lower on a yearly basis and nearly 30% below the previous 5-year average, mostly reflecting a significant fall in yields following unfavorable weather conditions. A small contraction in the planted area, which has steadily decreased since 2016, also contributed to the production decline in 2020. However, since January 2021, food inflation has accelerated moderately, mainly driven by price increases of fruits and vegetables, but price levels were still about 4% lower on a yearly basis. Transportation in Mauritius is characterized by the network of roadways, ports, and airports. The island was originally only accessible by boat until 1922 when the first flight landed in Mauritius. The primary mode of transport in Mauritius is via road. The bus network is fairly extensive and provides efficient access to the capital, Port Louis. There are also air-conditioned buses linking Port Louis with the main residential areas of the island. The two well-known bus companies are National Transport Corporation and United Bus Services. There is no light rail transit. For foreigners, renting a car is a popular mode of transport on the island, with the big names such as Avis and Budget being operational, as well as many other car rental companies. Cars drive on the left and drivers must be over 23 years old of age to hire a car. Air Mauritius is the main carrier and operates over 30 weekly flights to and from all the major European cities, including 15 combined flights with Air France to and from Paris. British Airways operates 4 weekly flights, Emirates Airlines 3 and Condor 1. Mauritius has a fully modern airport, Sir Siwusago Ramgoolam International Airport, located in Payzons in the south of the island. It is about 50 kilometers away from Port Louis and linked by road. An airstrip at Plain Corail on Rodrigues Island also runs a daily service to Mauritius. A public and industrial railway system existed from the 1860s to the 1960s. Due to persistent unprofitability from 1948 to 1953, it was finally closed in 1964. From 1964 to 2020, there were no railways in Mauritius. To cope with increasing road traffic congestion, a light rail system, Metro Express, has been proposed between Pipe and Port Louis. The project consists of a number of phases. The first phase, Port Louis to Rose Hill, went operational in January 2020. When completed, the system would cover a distance of some 25 km, with some 19 stations mainly located in town centers along the route with existing transport terminals. The end-to-end journey time would be approximately 41 minutes and coaches would be air-conditioned. Headways would vary by time of day, but are expected to be of the order of 6 minutes in peak periods. Access to stations will be by an integrated system of comfortable and reliable feeder buses. A 3.4-kilometer branch with 2 stations will be built as well. Manufacturing. With more than 50 years of industrialization, the manufacturing industry remains an engine of growth with a GDP contribution of 13.3% in 2021. The industry has played an instrumental role in the economic diversification and transformation of Mauritius from a monocrop to a broad-based and forward-looking economy. Today, Mauritius has consolidated its reputation as a high-quality and reliable supplier through a successful combination of trade, investment, and industrialization strategies. The manufacturing industry started in Mauritius with a view of substitute imported products. Over the years, an export-oriented strategy has been adopted with a view to diversify economic activities and to earn foreign earnings. The export sector includes textile and clothing as well as seafood, food processing, jewelry, watches, and chemical products. The manufacturing industry is constantly subject to intense competition as the internal market of Mauritius lacks economies of scale and the export market is subject to external challenges such as currency fluctuation, logistics, entry barriers, and competitiveness issues. Hence, it is most critical to continue to innovate and to keep its competitive edge. Energy. The Central Electricity Board, which falls under the aegis of the Ministry of Energy and Public Utilities, is the sole agency for transmission, distribution, and sale of electricity in Mauritius. CEB currently produces 40% of the country's total power requirement from 4 thermal power stations and 8 hydroelectric plants. The remaining 60% is purchased from independent power producers, mainly private generators from the sugarcane industry, using bagasse and imported coal. The government also seeks international competitive bidding for most of its power projects and favors joint ventures between the local private sector and international firms. However, in 2017, the CEB Act was amended to allow Green Energy Co. Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of the CEB, to participate in power projects without having recourse to public procurement. The aim of Green Energy Co. Limited is to promote the development of renewable energy, particularly solar energy. The government energy policy encourages the use of renewable and clean energy to reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuels and decrease greenhouse gas emissions. The government has announced plans to increase use of renewable sources of energy for electricity generation from the current 21 to 35% by 2025. It aims to do this through wind farms, solar energy, biomass, wave, and waste-to-energy projects. Bagasse sugarcane waste is currently the leading source of renewable energy. Mauritius derived its other renewable electricity generation from hydro, wind, landfill gas, fuel wood, and solar. Tourism. The beauty of Mauritius is beyond words. Rich with lush forests and waterfalls, unique wildlife, rocky mountains, white sand beaches, and breathtaking crystal-clear turquoise lagoons, Mauritius is a dream holiday destination for tourists from all over the world. Tourism in Mauritius is one of the most important elements of the Mauritian economy. Today, it represents the third pillar of the economy, coming in after the manufacturing and agricultural sectors, which is a testament to how significantly tourism contributes to the economic growth of the island. It's also led to the need for better infrastructure and has positively impacted the overall development of the small island. To put it in perspective, Mauritius tourism contributes approximately 14% of Mauritius's GDP. This incredible industry has created jobs for people, and as it stands, there are said to be over 40,000 people employed full-time in the tourism sector in Mauritius. Mauritius Botanical Garden, also known as Pamplemousses Garden, and SSR Botanical Garden, is one of the most popular tourist attractions in Mauritius and is located near Port Louis. It is the oldest botanical garden in the southern hemisphere. Other attractions include Black River Gorges National Park, L'Île aux Cerfs Islands, Grand Basin, Trop aux Cerfs, and more. Mining. The mineral industry of Mauritius is small. The country does not play a significant role in the world's production or consumption of minerals. As of 2006, Mauritius produced basalt for construction, fertilizers, and lime from coral, semi-manufactured steel, and solar evaporate sea salt. Local companies also cut imported diamond. As of 2006, imports of minerals and fuels accounted for 17% of total imports, iron and steel, 2%, and cement, 1%. In March 2006, concerns about import-reliant and rising petroleum prices led the government to sign an agreement with ONGC Videsh Limited of India for offshore petroleum exploration. Today, the government of the country has all exclusive rights to minerals. Therefore, foreign businessmen wishing to start a mining business in Mauritius are only allowed to conduct exploration operations with his written permission. Under the Mauritian subsoil law, the industrial minister himself is the administrator of the mining permit issuer in the jurisdiction. A permit from the minister grants the right to explore for minerals on the island of Mauritius. This includes prospecting for minerals in Mauritius, which also includes such work as is reasonably necessary in order for the permit holder to verify the mineral properties of the land. Foreign economic relations. Mauritius has strong and friendly relations with the West, with South Asian countries and with the countries of Southern and Eastern Africa. It is a member of the World Trade Organization, the Commonwealth of Nations, La Francophonie, the African Union, the Southern African Development Community, the Indian Ocean Commission, and the recently formed Indian Ocean Rim Association. Trade commitments to democracy and the country's small size are driving forces behind Mauritian foreign policy. The country's political heritage and dependence on Western markets have led to close ties with the European Union and its member states, particularly the United Kingdom and France. Mauritius' only immediate neighbor is Réunion Island, an overseas department of France that is also part of the European Union. Considered part of Africa geographically, Mauritius has friendly relations with other African states in the region, particularly South Africa, by far its largest continental trading partner. Mauritian investors are gradually entering African markets, notably Madagascar and Mozambique. Mauritius coordinates much of its foreign policy with the Southern African Development Community and the Organization of African Unity. The country is also a member of the Port Management Association of Eastern and Southern Africa. Foreign investment. Mauritius is the 5th largest destination for foreign and direct investments in small island developing states after the Bahamas, Jamaica, Maldives, and Barbados. According to UNCTAD's World Investment Report 2021, FDI flows to Mauritius and have fallen by almost half in 2020 to $246 million from $71 million the year before, following the economic crisis triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic. Investments in real estate, which generally account for the majority of inflows, suffered as a result of the pandemic. The decline was particularly visible in real estate investments from South Africa. The total stock of FDI stood at $5.7 billion in 2020. The main investors are the United States, India, the United Kingdom, the Cayman Islands, and Hong Kong. Traditionally, the tourism sector attracts most of the FDI, particularly the Integrated Resort Scheme, which deals with the construction of luxury villas, golf courses, and other amenities in the resort areas. In recent years, the country's economic diplomacy has sought to create and strengthen partnerships with emerging countries, while also offering technical assistance to several African countries. Agreements with Ghana, Senegal, and Madagascar have been approved in order to create special economic zones in those countries and open niche markets for Mauritian exports. Only a few sectors are subject to restrictions, including televisions, broadcasting, sugar production, newspaper or magazine publishing, whereas in the tourism sector, limitations are related to a minimum investment amount, the number of rooms, or the maximum equity participation. In addition to the government incentives for investments, the country offers investors a stable economic and political environment, a solid judicial system, modern infrastructure, a stable financial system, and a highly skilled and dynamic workforce. There you have it, and that was the economy of Mauritius explained. Which other country's economy do you want us to talk about? Please drop it in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, like, and also share it with your friends.